second presentation, and again a Spanish presentation. We decided to include in this project two different approaches to European identity. This time we are going to have a different type of approach through cultural heritage, and this is a collaboration that we have for the last maybe 6-7 years. We have been developing this relationship with the Universidad Rey Juan of Madrid, with the area of history. And with us is today Manuel, who has been working with us for quite a few years already. He's going to defend this project and implement it with Paca Vázquez, which is an artist of visual arts. And now he's going to tell you a little bit about our thoughts.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Manuel.
Since we all understand English, so I'll be speaking in English or Spanglish. But if you have any questions during the conference or whatever thoughts you want to share with the group, you are welcome to do it. So I like to bring back this idea of the Violeta Friedman about the Holocaust, that what they did with the Holocaust is not only to erase the human condition, but taking from them their identity. That's why we are here in this project talking about cultural heritage and identity. There's a few words to say about the Holocaust, but a lot to think about it. So hay mucho de lo que hablar, o sea, hay poco de lo que hablar, pero mucho sobre lo que reflexionar, ¿no? What I'd like to show you here is some of the projects we've been developing with Fundación Yehudi Menuhin and the university, and to show you some examples of how we work through art and culture, and how we work with the children and teenagers, and how we show them what is culture, identity, and why it's important for them to know about his surroundings and where they live. So I mostly work with Paca Vázquez, who is that woman over there. She was very busy and she couldn't come today, but she wanted to be here. I try to explain as the better I can to what she wants me to tell you. So our research group at university are focused on cultural heritage, but mainly in royal sites heritage from the Spanish monarchy. So we have like many legs in this project at university. The main one is the research, the hard work, the boring work, the research at university. But I'm in charge of transfer all this knowledge and all this research into educational projects. That's why we are here. These are some of the information if you want to check. We have a YouTube channel where you can see videos that I'll show you later. We've been creating with 3D models, animated videos talking about, for example, La Casa de Campo in Madrid, and we used all these materials in the projects at the schools, and then we use it to like a small pills of knowledge that we used on the school later, working with the arts. I have many videos, so I want to use just to look at it, and if you have any questions, please feel free. I think it's working. Sound. No sé si hay sonido o está antes ha funcionado. sea, lo he puesto antes precisamente por esto y sonaba todo, ¿eh?
Se me acaba la batería.
Ah, ¿no tiene batería? Bueno, igual.
Está el vídeo ahora, no.
Well, while we fix these technical issues, this is a project carried out by Paca 2 years ago, and she worked the family of Carlos IV, la familia de Carlos IV, using the painting of Goya, who is in the Prado Museum. And we wanted not only to the kids to know who was Goya, but to relate the family that Goya painted, the royal family, to his own family. So we don't want to work heritage as something that they have to know and to memorize, like dates, names, but we want them to make his own approach to heritage and culture and culture. These kids are from a school in Madrid, very close to the Royal Palace, but sadly these kids have never been there because the neighborhood is in a depressed area, so they don't have the cultural resource and economic backgrounds to go with their families, because their families are not familiarized with these things. No sé si hemos solucionado lo del sonido.
Debería. ¿No?
No está sonando nada. Nada, ¿no?
Vamos a apagar y encender.
Well, I keep going.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta? Lo que,
Sí.
Because I don't understand very well. I think that you have said that the important thing is not that the children know what happened with the workcraft. In this case, the picture of Goya, Goya's picture. But they have to create an approach, his own approach.
Yes.
Of his own meaning relationship with the picture.
That's it. Yes, we don't want to teach them the historical background. Of course we do, but that's not the important thing. That's our own approach from university. We don't want them to know that Goya was a famous painter from the 19th century and that he did a lot of work. That's fine. We have to tell them that, but we want them to create his own experience through his own cultural heritage, because these kids don't know much about where they live. Lots of these kids come from other countries. We had a lot of kids from Venezuela because of the crisis, for example, or from refugees from Syria, and they've never seen this. So we don't want to teach them we don't want them to know exactly. ¿Quieres que pruebe? Era para ver si funcionaba el sonido. Parece que no funciona. So the idea I like you to use, or in the project, in your own approach, in your own countries, is that. Ahora sí, perfecto. Ahora os pongo, I will show you the first video then, with sound. So, I don't know how you work these things in each country, but I think sometimes we don't scratch underground what's behind all these things. You can learn a lot of things about these kids by let them know to express themselves in a free way. So we use this cultural heritage or this art to establish a dialogue between them and us through art or heritage. Ahora sí, perfecto. Vale, está perfecto así, porque te va a cambiar de un sitio a otro. Vale.
¿Apagamos la luz?
Si queréis, sí, si no, si se ve bien, como queráis. So in this project there was a lot of kids from the gypsy community. So in many of the drawings, they have it on the faces like they had like a pink on the cheeks, and they call it lache. In gypsies, lache is shame, because they had shame of painting, for example. So you see this mix between Goya and the gypsy community, and so that's what we want to create, like new boundaries and roots that goes further than just the historical painting. So as Annabelle said this morning, identity is like an organic thing. It's growing and changing every day, and we want that to be reflected on our job, on the Muse projects or the projects we carried at schools. We want to see that, how we mixed different cultures, how we mix different ideas based on respect and sharing our common heritage. This is for learning basic geometry with kids from 3 to 6 years using paintings from the Prado Museum. So they were learning the squares, for example. Different materials and supports. It's a photographic paper, so it's sensitive to light. And those are the images. So as you can see, they don't need to know what's on the painting sometimes. So you can see, you can use the object to create a new idea. But you're always working with the same basic level of heritage through art to learn something new. This is another one. Maybe we can skip it because I think vamos un poquillo apretados de tiempo, ¿no?
Depende, tú sabes cómo qué tienes de documentación.
Well, this is another project.
Apago.
Sí, puedes apagar. Dejo este. This was about Don Quixote. So most of the kids know Don Quixote or the idea of Don Quixote, Sancho Panza, but they don't know who wrote it. So in this project, Paca wanted to share with the kids who was the Cervantes. So those black spaces, the kids don't know what's inside, so because they never seen the real image. So once they paint it, we show the real image. So they can share thoughts with us or what they painted, what they thought it was. With these drawings, you also discover the story of these children, because sometimes they draw his own life in this symbolic and imaginary idea of Cervantes. So maybe they draw, I don't know, if his father is in jail, they draw Cervantes in a cage, for example. But you don't know that till they draw it. So. And these are his own creations. We don't tell them what to do. We help them, but they are free to develop his own experience through it. So, yo creo que no hace falta es que la apagues. One of the schools we work a lot is called Francisco de Goya, and it's located in a former village or neighborhood just across the river Manzanares. Today is part of Madrid, and it's the neighborhood of Goya, and that's why the school is called Francisco de Goya. So Paca she works a lot with this figure of Goya with these kids. It's like Let's Dream with Goya. That's the title of this project. Sí, bueno, apaga si quieres, sí. So for us, it's like a big achievement that these kids who came from nothing, they already know who was Goya. That's enough. We don't need them to know which dates, what's the name of the paintings that Goya have. They know who's Goya. That's enough. We create a small chance or a small opportunity to these kids to inspire themselves and maybe study at high school or go to university. That's enough for us. That's what teachers and educators do. We don't only teach, we create opportunities and chances for these kids. That's what I think, but a great time for making big things. That's a word from one of the kids. An opportunity to be painter, to be creative, and to know people who with, I don't know, no acabo de leer. That was like a giant head of Goya.
No one knows where is the school of Goya. It's lost. The school of Goya, the skull is lost. Nobody knows. Yes.
It's not in the tomb. It's not there. They say that the bones that are buried are not exactly there. They can be arranged by painters.
Well, I'll keep this. So now I'll show you some of the results and the materials we had from the last projects we've been doing for the last year, since COVID. Since we opened the world in summer of last summer, we've been carrying out some projects with with people with special needs or disabilities. Nora was also there, and we were studying with them the palace and the royal sites and the main buildings who are in Madrid, like el Palacio del Pardo, el Palacio de Aranjuez, and we work also the gardens, because these people is an occupational center, so they work growing flowers. That's the main task of the daily life, and we want them to see how a royal garden looks like, and we use also the flowers they grow to create like a garden outside the main building. So we created also a maqueta, a model of a castle using cardboard, and they created all the interior by copying some paintings and doing all the furniture and all these things with recycled materials. This is a portrait of La Reina Isabel. This guy was just amazing. So as you can see, we use these cardboard boxes to create a model, a 3D model of with some rooms of a palace. They choose his own rooms. So they wanted to create a kitchen because they like to eat. They created a music room also because they love music, and they were working with not at that time with a music project, and they created the Queen's room. So on the top left is the music room. You have some musicians there playing. That's a table and some furniture. On the right it's the kitchen. In the center they were creating the gardens in green. This is a spider lamp. One of the guys just wanted to create a spider lamp because the castles have, in the palace, just have these things. So he wanted to create one. This is like the final work of. We had the soldiers over there in the garden because they were protecting the queen. This is the palace, and you have some trees over there. This is the interior. That's the kitchen. There's a lady there making bread, I think, over there. And that's the queen's room. This is a video short video of what we were doing. We always work with them, but we don't give them orders. That's how we work. We want them to feel free. When you give orders, you destroy this idea of feel free to create. If we tell them to I don't know, to draw, we want you to draw a river, they will do it, but they won't use his own imagination to create it. So we just ask them, would you like to draw a river, to draw a mountain, and they're free to choose what they want to do. So we bring this project to El Colegio Francisco de Goya with the kids, and it worked amazingly. These are some of the results also. We always ask them to write a title of his own work to each kid, because you discover a lot of things by doing this, because they create his own word while drawing, and they put what the name of his own experience, what they've been experiencing through these works. So for example, I was telling you before that one of the kids had his family was most of his family was in jail, so we were drawing a palace, and the title of the drawing was the Happy House, because he didn't have a home, because all his family was most of his family was in jail, so he was living only with his mom at that time, and he reflected what he wanted to have through this, and for us that's amazing. You can talk with the teachers later to tell them which specific needs has each kid also. So these are the results of the school. This is the other thing we're using. It's Lupo with another project, European project. We're using this for recreate the cultural heritage of each village of each country. So this is like a giant construction system. It's not Lego, because all these pieces are based on squares, and they don't connect to each other like Lego. It's based on physics, so they just need the weight of another piece to stand up, like this. These are some of the materials we created to work with the kids and in the projects. Like these small videos about the topic we want to work with them. This for example is the La Casita del Príncipe in El Pardo, El Monte del Pardo, who was created for the prince by Carlos III. And it's interesting because this was the first building of his, with the idea that there's no rooms in it, it's just for playing. So the prince went there for having fun, for listening music, for playing, for walking around the gardens, but he didn't sleep here. He had to come back to the palace to sleep. And this building was later used to create the Prado Museum by Villanueva, el arquitecto. So this is the place, and this is what we created with Lupo. We also created La Puerta de Alcalá, so we worked with La Puerta de Alcalá and we built it. These are some castles. This is the garden with the flowers we created. So we built the castle outside, and they created the gardens also outside the place. Las Meninas, for example, de Velázquez. And that's a skyline. They created his own skyline, for example, on the right. These are some of the material we have on the website. If you want to check it out, it's free access, and you can use it with kids. We already tested it and it works, so apparently. So we have these images we created with some historical figures from Spanish history. Also drawings and 3D models. We have also maps of, that's El Parque del Capricho, for example. So we created an interactive map and they can use it for visits. This is one of the latest videos we created. It's about naval construction. So all this is based on hard university research from archives. This video came from a Portuguese project of one of my colleagues who's working on wood and royal forests.
Para un transporte económico, ser altos, rectos y sin imperfecciones. Como mínimo, árboles de 60 a 70 años de edad, por lo que implicaba pensar en el futuro. Por eso los árboles y bosques debían de ser protegidos, especialmente en las primeras etapas de crecimiento. Los animales no podían pastar cerca de ellos para evitar que se los comiesen ni
Sorry, because it's not in English, but
por eso, las monarquías aprobaron leyes forestales para garantizar la supervivencia de los bosques y crearon organismos para su implementación. Portugal fue pionera en la aprobación de leyes forestales para contar con futuras reservas de madera y en la gestión de áreas forestales de multitud de lugares. Entre los siglos XIV y XV, la caza fue el principal factor de conservación.
So the basic idea is to work sustainability with the kids, but letting them know that most of the national parks and national forests we have today, it's because the king, the monarchy, decided to preserve it, to build more, for example, more ships to go to America. So they needed a process where they can use trees all the time. Well, this is kind of boring, so I'll skip it. This is one of the projects I enjoyed most. We were working Royal Gardens, and we did a lot of things in this project. So we worked Royal Gardens through the real Royal Gardens that we have today. For example, in Aranjuez, los jardines de Aranjuez, and through paintings from the Prado Museum. For example, Paret the painter. So we show them many paintings and many ideas of this, and they created his own world using this knowledge. So that's what's the name for that? La rueda que gira para que es como una kinetoscopio, no es kinetoscopio. ¿Sí? It's like this thing over here. So you put it on a wheel and you spin it, and it's like it feels like it's moving. It's like a primitive movie. There's a name, a technical name for that, but I can't remember. Kinetoscopio? Kinetoscope.
Ferrokistoscope.
Okay, that's it.
It's one of the four.
This is the video of the project. So I just play it. This was 3 years ago, I think. So each session has like a small introduction to the topic, but no more than 10 minutes. Then we start creating. That's a fountain. This was the last day, so that's why. This is what we created on the en el pasillo, in the corridors of the school. These are musicians, for example. A fountain. That's the balloon. The thing of the ¿cómo es globo aerostático? No es la traducción.
Air balloon. Hot air balloon.
Hot air balloon. So in this painting of Pared that we used in this project was the first trip in balloon in history, because it was in Aranjuez. So we used this to create this background also. So that's it. This is the end, and we ran out of time. So if you have any questions, please just, or you have any thoughts, or you want to share anything, or some things, ideas you are thinking or working on in your countries for this project. No?
Creo que estamos todos agotados.